important record. So let me just explain. So hopefully you can picture the flowchart in your mind if you still remember it. You had your start point, you put in your inputs, then along the way you evaluate and then you test if the condition is met. I believe you'd go on and print. If it is not met, you go back and what? And you go back into the sequence and try and meet the condition. So that's what a loop looks like. Eh? So we shall have a simple one. So basically in Matlab, shall have Matlab and then Mathematica, but basically with Matlab, the syntax for the for loop is use the keyword for and then end. So basically that is the syntax of a for loop, Matlab. So here is where you can now put in I is equals to, say, starting point. So it works is that a loop has a starting point, and then I think a doctor summarized it as something like STIB, something like that, Steve. So we have the starting point, start, then you have iterator. So let me just move in that format. So that's the starting point. And then in intervals of 1, that's an iterator. And then stop, like where you want the code, the loop to terminate from, something like that. So what this does, the keywords for the loop are for and end. If you miss out end, you'll get an error. Yeah. So basically, but that's the structure of a for loop. So in here, you can now come and choose to say you wanted to see the elements of I. Say print I. Or let me just copy. Oh, it's fine. Let me run this. I'll still save it in our folder. So basically, this is a simple loop that will basically try to print all those numbers that were what? Try to print the numbers from 1 to say looping session 1. Let me maximize my control, my command window rather. Change folder. Okay, let's see. And oh yeah, sorry. I was remembering some other language instead. Matlab uses display. Sorry for that. Yeah, so supposed to be display. So you see. So what we commanded it here, we said start from 1, move in intervals of 1, and when you reach 20, stop. So that's what it has done. It has printed numbers from 1, 2, 3 till 20. So that's what a loop does. So it went on, started from 1, added 1 to 1, now becomes 2. Is 2 less than 20? Yes, it prints it out. Then 2 plus 1 is 3. So it keeps on moving, adding 1 to the number and testing it whether it is less than this. But once it reaches 19, 19 plus 1 is 20. Is 20 less or equal to 20? Yeah, it prints it out. Now once it reaches 20 and adds on 1, it now becomes 21. So 21 is no longer, the condition is no longer satisfied. Yeah. So in that case there, it now jumps out of the loop. The loop is terminated. So that's how loops work. But then there are some cases where you'll need to make some logic, like logical reasoning. I could say that. So I could comment that out and introduce a new concept. Oh, let me put a comment. Let me try to comment it out for you guys as you read. For loop is used to say iterate. I'll use the official words, iterate, but iterate is same as repeat something like that, to repeat a code block. What I mean by code block is the code that lies within the two statements, for and if. So in this case, I display I within the code block. Now, next is I want to introduce the concept of if control statement. They are both control statements, as Dr. said last time. If control statements is used for logical programming. So the example I could give is that assuming say a student had a mark is say 50, but then you're trying to see how to grade the student, whether he has A, B, C, something like that. Something like when you do say papers, engineering math, you score something above 80, that's an A. You score something between 70, 75 and 80, that's a B plus. Something less than that, that's a B, something like that. So that's where if statements come in. So the syntax for the if is that it is basically if, then you put the statement. Let me say if mark is say greater than 50. What do I want to put? I say display. I want the message. Let me say bravo. Bravo. Something like that. And then now you see it's still telling me I have what? When you look inside, this red line in Matlab means that basically either have a syntax problem or an error. So what I'm missing here, I'm missing the end statement. So as soon as I put that off, yeah, I can now run that. Oh yeah. Let's see, great or equal to. Let's change it to that. Yeah, so the challenge I had made is that, as I told you, let me explain what the small type I had done. So initially when I put that mark is greater than 50, you see is the things that when I click on that, it literally brings out nothing, because what does it gets the mark that I've stored, the 50 that I've stored under the variable mark, and tests it out. Is it greater than 50? So 50 is not greater than 50, so it has nothing to do, like you haven't given it an option. So that's why I told you it is used for logical programming. So not until I changed this to say equal to, is now when I run this, is now when it brings me bravo. But then, yeah, so that's basically that's the syntax what an if statement. But as you have seen, this only handles one condition. So there are cases where you need to test multiple conditions. Say if the mark is, let's say, less than 50, let's change this to pass. You give that student a pass credit. And then else, so now I'm bringing in the concept of else. An else if statement is, it allows you to test multiple options. Else if I say if the mark is between 50, you correct my math there, those signs there, something like that. So mark is greater than 50, so I think I'll do this, and it's less than, okay. Let's say less than 65. I want it to display what? Display, it's a fair. Fair try. Guys, let's meet. Isaac. Isaac, mute yourself. Yes, yeah, so if the mark is, hopefully that is what I'm trying to mean, less or equal, like in between 50 and 60. Okay. And then let's say else if, so mark is exactly equal to n. So in programming, there's a difference between equal to and assigning. Eh? So here, let me comment this and say assigning value to, assigning a value to a variable. So still you must know those syntax, because that's what most likely you meet in the tests. They ask you what character do you use for assigning a value to a variable. Yeah, you see double equal signs, you see a plus, you see a minus, you see single equal sign. So what you have to do is just stick the single equal sign, because that's what you use for assigning value to a variable. And then if mark is okay, so now this one here, let me say this is used to test for equivalence. Check if say, let me say if two parameters are equal, like exactly equal to each other. Exactly equal to each other. So if it is equal to, so display survived. Say survived a retake, something like that. So you can write as many if statements, as many else if statements as you want, basing on what conditions you're trying to test. So you can run this and see. So you see, if I try, how about if I change the mark of this to say, let's say 60. Okay, yeah, fair try. Okay, then let me see if I change it to 40. Yeah, the pass credit. So basically, that's how if statements. That's the entire logic of control statements. But then there are cases where you combine an if and a for loop. Eh? So I think I'll give you that as a simple assignment. Just come up with a code to print out even odd numbers. Eh? But remember what Doctor took you through last week. Use the modulo function. Eh? It's fine. I can still do something on the modulo function. Okay. Okay. Modulo function is basically. So in Matlab, let me do it in the command window. Say if I had let me say I have 50 by, let me say 6. So if you divide 50 by 6, that's roughly that is okay, you get 8. 8 times 6 is 48, so remainder 2. So the modulo function prints out the remainder. But then we have the opposite of modulo, which is rem, comma 6. Oh. I think Matlab doesn't have this. It instead has it uses something else as the opposite of modulo. But I'll show it to you once you guys try doing that assignment, just for your personal practice. But when we meet next time, I'll take you through it. So it basically combines the if and the for statement, if and for loop. It's basically your own personal practice. So even last year, I still gave those guys the same thing, just for you to practice and yeah, get confident with that. But those are control statements. We have looked at how to fit distributions in easy fit. And I think next is what I can take us through next is we're now going to shift to what? We're now going to shift to Mathematica, so that we can do all that we've done in Matlab in Mathematica. And then yeah, I'd planned something with a few of your classmates. Wednesday, I think evening, if you guys are up for it, I'll meet you guys physically. A few of you are complaining of online, but the reason why I do it online is that there are some master's research students of doctor that still need this session. So that's why I do it online. But for the physical one, I'll be giving you guys a small recap as you guys requested. So yeah, let's hope we'll all be there, and remind me to come Wednesday evening. So we're going to do what we've done, the if statements in the control statements in Matlab, bringing them to Mathematica, we see how everything works. And then perhaps after that, we can now enter the Monte Carlo simulation. So hopefully you're now conversant with the interface of Mathematica. I know most of you have it installed. So I covered control statements. I told you commenting. Let me comment that out. Yeah, and still you must know the syntax of commenting, because as I told you, all these are possible objective questions you can meet in a test. I think there are a few of your classmates will tell you. Yeah, so yeah, you talk to some of them, the Lips, the Martin, they'll tell you everything that I'm doing here is literally examinable. They can ask you, how do you comment in Matlab? How do you comment in Mathematica? So if you not know, yeah, you're gone. So everything I do, just take note of it, because they're all examinable. So here what we're covering is our control statements in our Mathematica. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with the for loop. So the for loop, so in Mathematica, the functions must have start with capital letter. So fine, I'll still use the same example I used aside. The same mark is say 15. I'm going to test that out. So, oh, sorry. Let me start with the for loop. So I start with for I is equals to 1. And then I is less or equal to 20. And then the iterator is I plus plus, so that it keeps on adding. Yeah. And then let's see. So we can use a print. Let's say print square bracket, print I. So that's what we shall try printing out. Yeah, so sorry for that. Let's minimize this part. Right, can't see. Yeah, here. Yeah, so yeah, I'd forgotten it's supposed to be in a square bracket. All of that is supposed to be in a square bracket. So that's the difference between mostly Mathematica and Matlab. So to run this, I can evaluate notebook. So yeah, see it prints from 1 to 20. So basically, yeah, that's the simplest code you'd ever write in for what? For what? A loop in not in Mathematica. So most of it you'll actually be doing much more complex than this, but I'm giving the intro. And then the assignment I gave you, the printing even numbers, try it out and then she'll go to it next time. So that is the for. That's the for loop in Mathematica. And then I think can now do the if statement. So just comment out and say if logical programming. So yeah, we have 10 minutes to wind up. Okay. So with Mathematica, first letter is always what? It's always capital. You can always click. So usually Mathematica is much more, so few people find it user friendly, but you can always click on that I and get the documentation of how the if statement is carried out. So you see, it's if condition true false. So the condition is what we're going to put in, what we're trying to test. And if the condition is met, we print out the true statement. If not, yeah, we put in the false statement. So that's basically it in Mathematica. So if people find it easier, but they don't get biased on any of the two. So shall say, assuming we had said mark is equals to say 15. And so we're trying to see if mark is say greater than 50. This is something like exactly equal to 50, comma. So what do we want to tell it? We want to tell it to print out, print, print, oh yeah, using the wrong. So that's again one of the differences. Matlab used the single quotation marks for putting in strings. In Mathematica, you use double quotation. So in here you can put, say, you have survived. So I will take something like that. Then close that off. And then put the false statement. If that condition is not met, you want it to print out. Say probably wrong. 50 is exactly equal to 50. So now that gives us the options, could be now less or greater than. Yeah, so yeah, you can say, let's just say for simplicity, wrong input. Shall keep on advancing as time goes on. But mostly you love to practice because yeah. So I close that bracket. So see, this bracket is closed, that is closed. And you can now evaluate. Yeah, so the message comes there because 50 is what is satisfied. So if maybe say if you had an if else statement, what you do, you'd have a nested if statement. Yeah? A nested if statement is You can always come and search it. Nested if statement. Nested if statement. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, but let's see. Nested if statement. Yeah, you can still pull it off. You can still pull it off. Say if let me copy this. It's exactly equal to 50. And I copy this. And then now within that, we now have another if statement. If copy this, open that, is say greater than 50, put a comma, you come and copy this. Control V. So if it is greater than 50, what say bravo. Can remove this. So make sure that all the brackets are closed. So that closes that, and then that closes that. And you can try. Oh, somebody's saying you can't hear me. Hopefully you can hear me. But yeah, there are a few minutes for now. Evaluate the notebook. Let's try changing this to 60. Oh. Let's see. First comment out this. But yeah, you can go ahead and ask your questions. The last few remaining 3-4 minutes. In case you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask them. Let's see. So in case you guys have any questions, I'll use the remaining few minutes to ask. Yeah, it's now okay. So let's see. Could still add another if statement. Copy the whole of this. If it comes out there, put a comma. Remove that. If it is less than 50, say failed. So let's change this to 40, see if the code is working well. because there are no syntax. So let's see this loop. This is closed, so supposed to close the final one. So you can use so you guys have no questions? Okay. So if you guys have no questions, we have less than a minute. But yeah, that's what we have covered today: control statements and using easy fit. So next time we meet, we shall be doing the Monte Carlo simulation and linear configuration scheme for, yeah, that's what we shall be doing next time we meet. But yeah, I think Martin can share the recordings with you. The recordings with you.
Okay, sure.
And for the physical meeting, we shall do it on